What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make a vegan BLT. So what we're going to be using is tofu as our meat substitute, but you can also use tempeh or seitan, and you're going to also make a marinade. The marinade is going to have tamari or soy sauce, whichever one you have, maple syrup, liquid smoke. We're also going to have paprika, smoked paprika, salt, onion powder, and nutritional yeast. And so I measured out all of my liquid, and I also measured out all of my dry ingredients. And now I'm going to cut my tofu. So the tofu that I'm using is super firm, high protein tofu, and it's non-GMO and it's organic. I got this from Trader Joe's, but you can also get it from Whole Foods and your local grocery stores. Most grocery stores have it in the area with the plant-based, and it is refrigerated. You do not have to press this tofu out. It just has some liquid in there. You just pour it out and just pat it dry and you're good to go. Alright, so when cutting this tofu, you're going to have these blocks. And I'm showing you a recipe for two batches, but you're only going to be making one batch, okay? One batch is enough for 4 to 5 people, so that makes about 4 to 5 sandwiches, and then you can have something else with that, maybe a salad or some chips that are vegan friendly. Alright, so to slice this, you want to slice them not too thin, but thin enough so they're giving you the imitation of bacon. So you know bacon is not really thin, but it's not super thick. And so I'm just going to slice, and I'm slicing long ways this way, okay? So my first piece always has that little extra piece on it because these are not perfect rectangles, so I'm okay with that. And then when you slice it, you just slice that in the middle, and now you have your pieces. These are, your first slice is going to be a little thicker because of that, the way this is shaped. And then you want to put this in a container because you're going to marinate this for an hour. The longer the better. You can actually marinate this overnight if you want. So now it's time to actually make the bacon. So you want it to be thin like that. And I messed this one up. And if you want them to be perfect, you just really want to look, because sometimes the block, like I said, is not fully even. So you want to be careful how you're slicing it and making sure that everything kind of is consistent going down. So I'm just gonna, I wanted to cut a stack and I'm just gonna cut it in half as a time saver for myself. Again, the end pieces are not gonna look the best because the way the tofu is molded, it just doesn't look pretty on the ends. So you just have to do your best to work with it. And be careful with this because if they're really thin, you don't want to break them, and tofu is very fragile. So you want to be careful with it whenever you're slicing this. Again, you can substitute this with tempeh or seitan if you're not a fan of tofu. Oops, I went too thick on that one. Almost finished. And then we're gonna get the marinade ready. Alrighty. Oops. Sometimes I end up breaking at least one, but not always. So in this case, I broke one, but it's fine. I got a lot. Again, this is enough for multiple people. You can make this recipe and have it like, if you have a family members coming over, they'll like this. And I'm just making a batch for a lot of servings. So do not think you're going to make this amount. You want to use 1 block of tofu. I'm going to get a bowl because I'm going to mix my dressing. Well, my marinade that I'm going to be using. So for your marinade, you need 1 tablespoon of nutritional yeast. You also need a 1/2 teaspoon of paprika, smoked paprika, a 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder, a teaspoon of salt, and I believe that's all that I added in here. So I'm pouring that in there. And then for your liquid, you need 2.5 tablespoons of liquid smoke, 5 tablespoons of tamari, 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. So we're going to mix this together. Feel free to substitute for whatever sweetener you like. So if you like to use agave, it's going to give it a different flavor. I just find that maple syrup works better with this. Alright, so we mixed it together, and what I'm going to do now is pour it over here. You want to make sure that it coats all of the tofu because it is going to be marinating for an hour. So you want to prep this in advance so that it's ready for you when you're ready to cook it, okay? So now I'm going to put it in this airtight container. You can mix it around in this bowl just to make sure that it coats all the tofu. And now we're gonna put it in the refrigerator for an hour to marinate. I will suggest you marinate it longer, because the longer you marinate it, the more flavor you get from all of the marinade that we use. And then we're gonna come back. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna show you how to grill it using a griddle pan. If you do not have a griddle pan, you can put this in like a regular pan. I just like to use the griddle pan because it gives it that grill lines and it just looks more and more like bacon. So, all right, so I'm gonna let this go in the refrigerator and marinate, and then we're going to cook it and make it as the sandwich, the BLT. All right, so let's marinate this and then I'm gonna come back. All right, so now you can see it's time to cook the tofu. I let them marinate for about an hour, and now it's time to cook them. And so I'm gonna show you what they look like. They don't look any different. You can just see that the marinade has been soaking on them. And one thing that I like to do is add a little bit of juice in there when I'm cooking them. And then for your griddle pan, you wanna get it really, really hot. Just because I feel like it cooks better that way. This is just what works for me, and so I like to get my pan really, really hot. And you can spray some cooking spray on there if you like, or you can use whatever your favorite oil is. And so I'm just going to dip it in the sauce and just add it. I'm gonna add as many as I can, as many as this pan will fit. So you're gonna cook them for about 2 to 4 minutes on each side. You kind of want it to get like a grill line on it. And it's doing this because this is watery liquid, and then that's all in my pan. So it's gonna make that noise, and it's gonna make the noise too because my pan is hot. So I'm just going to let these cook for about 2 minutes on each side. And I'm just going to try to keep my hands clean while I'm doing this as much as I can. Alright, it's been cooking for a good minute on that side, and I'm going to give this side a couple minutes. You know, as you cook too, I found that the longer I cook something, like if I'm cooking something like this, the first batch might take a little longer. So that might take the 4 minutes. And as you continue to cook on your stove, that the pan gets fully hot. And so that's gonna shorten your time. So it might be 2 minutes instead of 4 minutes. So that's why I say the range of 2 to 4 minutes. So depends on your pan. And yeah. So I'm gonna let it cook for 2 to 4 minutes. And then we're going to have some tomatoes, some lettuce, and just gonna treat it like a BLT. The bread that we're gonna be using is a sourdough bread, or you can use whatever bread that you can find that is vegan friendly. Most of the breads that are from the bakery side are made without eggs and milk. So just check with your bakery whenever you're getting bread to make sure that your bread is vegan friendly. So I'm gonna give it another minute. And then we're going to flip it over. And you can smell like the maple syrup and the tamari and different smells that, and the flavors that we put in our marinade. So it's gonna be really great. 1 more minute, because I want mine to be kind of like, have like some chard on them. So We're getting there. It smells so good. And this recipe is so simple, you guys. Like, this is something that you can make. This is like one of my to-go-to recipes because my family likes it, and it's so quick. The only thing is you have to marinate your stuff and prep it ahead of time. Now, I have made it without marinating it for a long time. You can actually do that. You just want to add a little bit of that juice from your sauce into the pan so that it can kind of cook and give you that flavor that you're going for. But I find that the longer that I marinate it, the better it is. So let's see what it looks like. It's still getting it. Some pieces might be quicker than others, just because they might be a little thinner. If this piece might be fine. Yeah. So it's going to look like this when you get finished with it. So I don't know if you can see that. It looks like that. So I'm going to start flipping the smaller pieces over. Oh yeah. See why I like those grill lines? Like, the grill lines make it look so much better. Interesting, the back row is ready before the front row. And I can tell which ones are ready just from me doing this so much. I done made this recipe a few times. Actually, one of the recipes I gave out to my mother-in-law and my mom for Christmas, I made them a recipe book of our favorite recipes that I make at home. And they've been wanting to try like vegan recipes, and so I just made them a recipe book for Christmas. I also gave them some other stuff, but they got a recipe book for Christmas. And my mom was so happy because every time she comes to my house, she likes to eat my chili. And so anybody she knows, she talks about that chili. And she's like, it tastes so good, it doesn't have any meat in it. So she just gets so excited about that. So I don't know if you can see, but that's what it looks like. We're gonna let that cook for a few minutes. And we're gonna add the next batch in and make our sandwiches. I'm so excited about eating this, you guys. Like, it smells so good. And the longer you let it cook, it gets a little crispy like bacon. And so that's why it's important to try to slice them about 1/8 of an inch. So about, I wouldn't say 1/8 because that's really small, but about that much. That's not a 1/4 inch. So I really don't know what to call it, but about that thin is where you want it to be. If you can see that, so about that thin. Yes. And you only need a little bit of oil in the pan. What I do is I drizzle it. And since I'm using this griddle pan is kind of like non-stick griddle pan, so I don't really need to use a lot of oil in this pan. That sauce though, that sauce kind of cakes up, so keep in mind that might create some residue on your pan. Oh yeah. Alright, so we're gonna put this. This is not regular bacon. You don't really need a napkin to sit this on, a paper towel or anything to get the oil off of it, because again, this is just tofu. It doesn't have that much fat compared to bacon. So look at that. Slices of bacon. Yeah. Alright, so let's do some more. I'm gonna let you watch me. I just drizzle a little bit of oil on it. And you don't even need it every time because this is a non-stick pan. I'm gonna add my pieces to it. Again, it's doing it because this is a liquid that's oil. And so it's gonna always do that. Dip it in the sauce like I'm doing. Add it to the pan. Be careful when you're doing this please protect yourself in the kitchen. I do this so much that it doesn't bother me, but be careful because this does get really hot, okay? Now what you could do with this, if you want to like have it on a salad, you could add it to one of your salads. Just keep in mind it's not going to be crispy like bacon, because it is tofu, and even though it's super firm tofu, it's still not as hard as bacon. And so what you want to do is just slice it up and just add it to your salad, scatter it around however you want to, and then you can have you a mock bacon, lettuce and tomato salad, and maybe add on some ranch dressing, a vegan ranch dressing that you like, and it will probably taste yummy. There's a dressing by Follow Your Heart. So Follow Your Heart is a vegan brand, and they have this ranch dressing. They actually have other dressings, but I have been enjoying their dressings, and I have not been a fan of market dressing. Like any dressing that's been on the market, I was always used to making my own dressings. And so one day I seen it in the store and I was like, let me just try this, and I picked it up and I made it on my salad, and I was like, this is so good. So if you're like me, you're very picky with your dressing, I have found that Follow Your Heart is a really good brand to try if you're vegan. Even if you're not vegan and you just want to try different dressing, Follow Your Heart has delicious dressing. And it's plant-based, so I'm gonna let these cook, and I'll let you look at this a little closer. Maybe one that is actually perfect. So that's how they look. They're mini bacons, okay? They're not gonna be the long strips of bacon that you might see, but the grill lines make it look like it's emulating bacon, so that's why I like making it with the grill line. Oh yeah, this one's good. I can flip this one. I gotta be careful with these. Because you can easily break them. Yeah, I just broke that one. Alrighty. Oh, I need to flip this little thing on over. If you do not have your griddle pan, they're not that expensive. Go find you one at Walmart, Target, even the grocery store. I believe we got this one from one of our local grocery stores because we had a griddle pan and our griddle pan was like tore up and we wanted to grill something that day, and we just like went to the grocery store and found it. So of course this is not the most lavish kind because we got it from a grocery store and they don't specialize in cookware, but if you're on a budget, you can get one from your grocery store. You can probably get it from Amazon. I don't know of any on Amazon because I didn't buy any from Amazon, but I'm pretty sure just like anything else you can get from Amazon, you can also get a griddle pan. So I'm going to get this off the stove. Be careful. I'm tearing up my tofu. So precious. so now we're going to plate it. So I'm gonna go over there to the counter so you can see me a lot better, and we're gonna work on plating this, and that's gonna be in the end of the video. All right, so I'm gonna meet you guys back on the counter and we're gonna plate this. I'm gonna show you how I make my BLTs, and let me know in your comments if you made it or not, if you make tofu recipes, or if you made your own BLT. So let's go to the table to finish out this video. All right, so now it's time to plate everything. I have my bread and I have some tomatoes. What I did with these tomatoes is just sprinkle some oregano on them. I also have some pickles and romaine lettuce. So what you want to do first is add your vegan mayo, and the brand I'm going to be using is Hellmann's. I also like Follow Your Heart. Follow Your Heart is another brand that you can use that is vegan friendly. They have a soy and a soy free mayo that you can use. I'm just going to add just mayo, the amount, and then I'm going to add on my vegan BLT, well, vegan bacon to make the BLT. So I like to add about 4 to 5 slices, just depending on how thin they are. That determines how much I put on. Alright, so there, that is. Y'all, I meant to put my lettuce first, so I'm gonna put my lettuce first on this side. And then I'm gonna add this on top. Then you want to add your tomato. So I'm just going to add a tomato on top like that. And then I'm going to add some pickles. You can use the long pickles, or you can use some of these little small pickles that look like chips. And there you have it. A vegan BLT sandwich, and made on a sourdough bread. Alright, so thanks for tuning in today. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you do make this recipe, let me know in the comments below how you enjoy this recipe. Also, if you enjoy these videos, make sure that you subscribe so you can come back and check my next video, and have a wonderful day. Bye.